Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, everyone. We're going to be joined today by bartering expert Eric Briggs. So stay tuned. Also, don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. Go to Arthur Robinson Jr. and click on that subscribe button so you'll be more informed when I publish more outside the box interviews.
Hello, my friend.
Hey, Eric, how you doing? Can you see me good?
Sorry?
Can you see me good?
Yes, I can. Can you see me well?
I can see you well.
All right.
Your lighting is a little off, but I can see you well.
Yeah, you know what? Hang on. Well, yeah, I'm in the office here. Um, let's see. Does that help?
Okay, now you can back up from the camera a little bit.
Okay. Is
A
that a
little
little
bit
bit better?
more. I can see your full face.
You can see my
There
face
you
now?
go. I
All
can see
right.
your face now. There you go.
No problem.
All right. How you
Yeah,
doing?
doing well, doing well. Just had to drop the car at the shop. I'm having the radiator cord out just to make sure everything's perfect. I
Mm,
don't I wanted to make sure it's perfect before I put it up. So yeah, it's always an adventure, man. Always something.
okay. Oh,
Yeah.
that's good. That's good. Where you are calling in from?
I live in Arizona. I live in Tucson, Arizona, in Oro Valley, outside Tucson. It's called Oro Valley.
Okay. Okay. You calling in from Arizona. Is it
Yeah.
hot out there?
Oh Lord. Matter of fact, yeah. I mean, it was 110 yesterday. I don't know what it's today. I haven't checked, but yeah, that's some heat right there. But at least it's a dry heat.
Mm-hmm.
Um, out here you get baked. In the east or in the south you get broiled or steamed like broccoli. But out here it's that you just get baked. The sun just it's like laying on your shoulder like a parrot. You know, you just you feel like it's on.
Mm,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Back up from the camera a little bit. I can see your full face.
Okay.
There you go. There
I'm
you
sorry.
go.
Sorry
Lot
about that.
better, lot better.
Let me just this. I think that might help. That's better.
Hey, right there.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
Perfect. That's all right. All righty. You ready to rock and roll?
absolutely. Sorry for the
Oh,
delay.
all righty. Good afternoon, everyone. This is Arthur Robinson Jr. I'm the creator and host of the Powerful Interviews podcast. And today I have another special interview for each and every one of you. Today I have a wonderful person on the show, and he's a great friend of mine. His name is Eric Briggs. For those that don't know Eric, let me explain to each and every one of you about this incredible, phenomenal man. Eric Briggs is a barter expert, pursuing the creation of maximum value not dependent on cash, routinely creating return on investment of 3 to 5 to 10 to 1 or more through the leveraging of assets. And that is an awesome, impressive resume. Without further ado, I'd like to welcome the one, the only, the powerful Eric Briggs to the show.
Except no substitutes. Thanks for having me on, Arthur. I really appreciate it.
I'd like to thank you, Eric, for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the audience worldwide about the power of the bartering system. I gladly appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. I'm so glad to be able to join you on your platform and talk about it. It's something that I'm passionate about.
To everyone that's listening and watching right now, I highly recommend go and get your pen and your pad right now. My great friend Eric Briggs is going to break down layman's terms about how to leverage assets by getting involved in the bartering system. Is that correct, Eric?
Absolutely, absolutely. And whatever information you'd like me to give, we'll go there. Go as deep as you want.
What I'd like to know, and can you explain to the audience in layman's terms, who is the phenomenal Eric Briggs? How long you been in your powerful industry? And how can people actually generate income by getting involved in the bartering system?
Okay, well, first of all, Eric Briggs, I'm 53, nearly 54 years old, originally from Maryland. Parents moved me out west when I was a kid, kicking and screaming. Maryland to Arizona, very different, big culture clash. But anyway, we made it work. I started in a barter journey. I think I was always bartering my whole life, Arthur. I mean, I've always been good at bartering. I've always been good with numbers, and I've always been good at trading things.
Mm.
So I started with steelies and marbles when I was a kid, and and comic books and you name it, and always making like a win-win deal for myself and someone else. And of course, as a kid, I didn't really know that. I knew that I wanted to make deals with people, and I wanted them to come back. So I think I inherently knew that you need to make things a good win for somebody else. If they win, you'll win. Most of the time, you'll do very well, very well. Even if you have to leave some on the table, more on the table than you normally would for them, that's okay. You got a relationship, and it'll come back and back. So what really kicked off me really becoming more of an expert in the field was I had a tragedy happen. My wife of 29 years, we just had our 29th anniversary. Back in 2014, I had to place her in full-time care, 24-hour care. She has MS. Wow. So I literally had to place her 3 miles from my house in a 24-hour care facility. Now, I'd been taking care of her and bartering and doing business from home, but it got to the point where I never slept. My health was going down. And so I had to make that painful decision with her to place her. Now I was crushed. I was wiped out. The first week after I put her in the care facility, even though I was always there, I was really depressed because I knew that life had really changed for a young couple. At the time, she was 43, I was 45. And I'm sitting around and I'm thinking to myself, you know what, I've got to do something with myself. I've got to make sure that I continue to spend as much time with her as possible and share as many experiences as I can with her as possible. How can I do that? And I started going through like an inventory of my skills and the things I could do. And I determined that I was really going to become an expert at barter. I enjoyed it. I was passionate about it. I made some money with it, but I was really going to use it to kind of free myself up so that I had more time with her and to pursue things and experiences with her. So that's really what kind of really led me to really nail it down, hunker down and do it.
Mm. Well, I'm definitely going to pray for her, and she's in God's graces, and that's very honorable of you by standing by your wife's side,
Oh,
through
absolutely,
these
absolutely.
difficult times.
That's right. That's right. Hey, those vows say it all.
Hmm.
It's we make it work. We pivot.
Hmm.
We change direction. Whatever we got to do, but we make it work. And so I determined that I was going to be able to share experiences with her. Maybe take her here and there to certain events, or we go to nice places to eat. I'd be able to get a hotel room and she could rest during the day, maybe, and then we could go to our event or whatever we had to do. I would be able to utilize the power of barter to really expand our lifestyle
Mm.
while keeping the money in my pocket. And that's what I really specialize in. So I started really learning how to create dollars out of pennies, you know,
Mm.
financial leverage, Um, and what's nice about barter is many times people will make investments in things and they're hoping for a return. Well, many times with what I do, your return, especially if it's something I'm getting rid of, many times I have it bought before I buy it. It's already sold. It's already sold. So my risk is not there. There's really no real risk. The riskiness is removed. Um, and even if it's something that I get a hold of, like an asset, because of the financial leverage I have, many times I'm not even 20 cents on the dollar for what I invest in. So
Mm.
even on a fire sale scenario, I'm gonna more than break even. You know what I mean? I'm getting my money. I'm gonna make my money on it one way or another.
Mm.
So yeah, my downside risk is very, very low. My
Mm.
upside is very, very high. See what I mean? So it's kind of gives you that protection.
Mm.
Yeah.
Now, you basically were involved by launching a meat packing company, and that meat packing company was basically, known throughout the states. Can you tell the audience a little bit about that deal?
Okay. Yeah. Let me tell you how that works. So I won't say it's meat packing. Basically, what it is, I have a business partner. We have a coffee roasting business. All right. He's a world class chef and a master coffee roaster. Been doing it for over 30 years, 35 years. So I, especially during the pandemic, it was apparent we were going to all be on lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of business things had shifted and changed, and
Mm-hmm.
weren't able to have tastings, weren't able to meet with clients. And
Mm-hmm.
I was like, I've got to find a way to get the merchandise out. And we were talking about gourmet bacon slabs and dry aged meats, and he can create those. And they're old school, old world ways of doing things that aren't done that way anymore. Kind of low and slow, basically. Like we dry age the meat up to 45 days before we sell it. So what happened is we're in negotiation now to get a commercial kitchen and through a restaurant group that's going to work with us. But at the time, what I did was I reached out through these private Facebook communities that I belong to.
Mm-hmm.
Private groups. You can't just sign in. You have to get invited in.
Mm-hmm.
And I started letting people know about what I do, and people would make requests. It's almost like a hobby designation. This watch trader, this auto trader wanted some dry aged steaks or some slabs of bacon. Boom! I start sending them out to them,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of how it went. Also, the professional barter organizations that actually these are almost like big banks. Think of them as banking organizations.
Mm-hmm.
I started pushing the meat through them. So yeah, we we started doing a lot. People love our product, and when we get the commercial building in the kitchen, and I can scale it, and I can do a real full on deal, it's gonna be quite a thing, especially with COVID, shutting down, or I should think things opening up. Um, so that really helped to sustain us a lot last year,
Mm-hmm.
a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, trading for the things that a lot of the things that we need that you pay money for anyway. You pay cash for it anyway. But if you can trade for it, the cash stays in your pocket.
Mm-hmm.
So I mean, I think that's really the game. I think of it almost as a game. Keep how can I keep my money in my pocket and not pull it out? How can I negotiate and give somebody what they want without reaching for my wallet?
Mm-hmm.
Right? And
That's
I think
powerful.
right. That's a conversation I think everyone should start having. How can I create value? How can I ask the right questions to help a person to receive what they want while preserving my wealth, even if it's very little to begin with, right?
Mm. Absolutely. Absolutely. There's a lot of entrepreneurs and business owners that are sitting on, hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars in regards to assets that they can leverage with the bartering system.
Yes.
Can you basically reveal to the audience a case study where you actually helped out one of your clients and, that deal basically leverage up to a 7 or 8 figure deal?
Well, I can tell you that we definitely had a 6-figure deal
Mm-hmm.
that I was working on and trying to get towards that 7-figure deal.
Mm-hmm.
So I have a friend who's he supplies restaurants and hotels, and he buys things by the truckload.
Mm-hmm.
So I made him aware of a deal, and I had him invest. I had another investment at the time, but he invested $4,000 into multiple pallets of a gourmet olive oil.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the olive oil I had gotten through a liquidator, and the olive oil was $21 to $33 a bottle. Little tiny 8.4 ounce bottles. And so he and I went in, and that 4,000 was leveraged to $72,000 in actual retail value of that olive oil. Now, what's interesting,
over what period of time?
this was done within placed within about 64,000 of it was placed within 3 weeks of purchase.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last 8,000 was kind of over the last about a year. But now, what you have to understand is this is the interesting thing, Arthur. People are addicted to cash. I mean, that's the first thing you got to understand. Large businesses barter all the time.
Yes, they do.
But they don't want their cash paying customers to know.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can get in, it ain't like they're talking about it. But if you can get in, then you can stay in there. You can become grandfathered in with them doing barter. But if you start paying them cash, many times you've kind of ended your ability to go back and barter, because they're like, well, because again, that cash is ubiquitous. Barter is nearly as ubiquitous, but let's just understand, people still place cash here. So what happened is that $72,000 was created in barter currencies, credits that he and I used for restaurants, travel, lodging, you name it, just things that he want to buy that people had for sale, events, you name it. There's so many things that we use that for, and we got dollar for dollar value for those things. Some of the stuff we use to buy something and then sell it. So that we'd have, because the ROI was so high. When you're basically when you're talking about a barter organization, a professional group, their fees normally run from 10 to 13, say 10 to 15%. They're actually they're charging you cash of that amount for the transactions that go through their organization. Now, the reason why they're so great is because there is an amalgamation of all of these business people of all sorts that will trade with each other. So there's a great deal of power in those groups. So the trick is, since you know that 10 to 15% is in there, how low can you get the asset? So when you add the 10 or 15% to whatever it costs you, you're still as low as possible. So when I said when I did that deal, the olive oil actually cost me about 4.7, about 4 to 6% of the value, which means when I sold it and paid 10% in the fee to actually sell it, or I should say, when I used the funds that I was given for it, I had to pay a 10% fee. My cost was about 4 cents on the dollar, let's say. So I'm all in 4 plus 10, 14 cents on the dollar. 16 cents on the dollar. See what I mean? So that's how you arrive at the math. So that oil that's $33, that I'm selling for 33,
Mm-hmm.
I'm in it at 16 cents on the dollar. If you do the math, that's like $5. So basically, that means if I was in the barter group and I saw something for sale in that group,
Mm-hmm.
and something for sale in that group was $33, and I bought it,
Mm-hmm.
my cost in that $33 item was only about $5.
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to sell it for half price,
Mm-hmm.
I'm tripling my money.
Absolutely.
You
You
see what I mean?
quadrupled it.
Right? Yeah. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If I was able to get full value for it, forget it. I mean, that's, what is that? 6 times my money. So
Mm-hmm.
it really is basic math. You employ your understanding of basic math, and look at deals and say, okay, is that a winner? Does that look like something that I can liquidate for cash, or something I could utilize in my life and get basically dollar for dollar value for it? Like a restaurant. If I get a certificate for a restaurant, $100 certificate or a gift card, my cost in it was $16, 16%.
Mm.
It's a $100 gift card. So if I go to a restaurant, you're sitting across from me, you're eating $100 worth of food, you're paying $100. I paid 16.
Mm.
Tip another 25, 30% because you're a good tipper, right? So now that bill is 100 plus a tax plus a tip. You're out at $150.
Mm.
I tip 40% because I want to, right? So 40% on 100, so it's $40 plus $16 plus a tax. I'm out for $60. A $100 dinner cost me 60, and I tipped them 40%.
Mm.
Hey, you tip 25, 30%, and you're out at $150. So you see what I'm trying to say? It's
Yes.
literally, it's an amazing financial leverage.
Mm.
I can go back to that restaurant almost 3 times for what you paid for in once. I
Mm.
mean, yeah,
That's incredible.
right?
So let's take that scenario that you just explained to me and the audience. Let's just say, we have entrepreneurs and business owners in our network where, they do go out to eat to the, Outback restaurant or to Applebee's or to even a 5-star restaurant. How would they actually use their bartering credits to lower their dinner bill or their lunch bill?
Okay. Now, there's a twofold thing happening here. First of all, there are a lot of groups that will release all sorts of gift certificates and gift cards to barter groups around the country, around the world.
Mm.
So if you're part of a professional group, you can get a lot of good food and good experiences in those groups.
Mm.
Now, if you're dealing outside the barter world, in the world at large, like our world, me and you come together as friends and we want to do something. Let's say, what I would say is that if you have a relationship, especially if you can create a relationship with your favorite restaurant or your favorite place to go, you start asking them questions like, listen, I'm a regular, I love what you do. I want to join you on a more regular basis, but you know what? I want to find out, what kind of needs, what are you looking to do with the business? What are you looking to do? What's your next major purchase going to be? You start asking questions of people and determining what their needs are. And you start actually making a list of the things that people want and need. And you'll find ways of fulfilling those wants and needs if you're able to capture that asset or that thing that they need at a low price and give it to them for the regular price, get the regular price value. I'll give you an example. The friend of mine that did the olive oil deal was inspired by what we did. So his favorite restaurant, who is they're a barter member, but they only allow a limited number of transactions per month. So he went to them directly and said, listen, I'm going to supply all of your straws and your paper towels, all the restaurant paper goods, everything you need. And I want you to give me restaurant credit for it. Dollar for dollar. They immediately agreed. So right away, he reduced what he spends there by, it just dropped. But he got full credit for what he was getting. So that was a basic barter deal right there. Now, me, with my expertise, if I were going to tell him to do it even better, what I would do, and we haven't even worried about it, but what he could do is, remember, they have food costs. A restaurant has food costs usually in the 20 to 30% range.
Mm-hmm.
So if they give you a meal, that $10 meal is costing them no more than $3, right? So what you can do if you have something that's expensive and you can do the math and realize that a straight trade would be fantastic for them, or even to ask them for a 1.5 times or 2 times the value of what they're giving you, what you're giving them in food, that many times it might still be worth their while to trade you. See what I mean?
Absolutely.
But at that point, it's just math. You just have to figure it out, sit down and figure it out. But I've done that kind of stuff with general public. I've done that kind of stuff all the time. Right now, I'm driving. I put it in the shop to have it serviced before I sell it. I bought a 91 Jaguar in Michigan, an XJS coupe. I bartered it. And it cost me, my barter transaction was 18 cents on the dollar. Each dollar I paid for that car, I had made for 18 cents. So that car is a car that I've been told by an auto broker is worth $14,000 to $15,000. Once I get it out of the shop with all the servicing I'm having done just to make it perfect before it's ready for sale, I'll still have less than $4,000 invested in that car. So
wow. So that was a great leveraging tool by using the bartering system. Basically, I'll get you what you want. In exchange, you're going to help me get what I want. But I'm using the bartering system as credits where I can add value into your life. And in exchange, you're going to add value into my life for less money that I would have paid for the car at top line value.
And you know what's interesting, Arthur, is remember I told you how it's all about how you create the dollars. I paid the man $12,000 in barter for that car. But since my true cash cost was about 18 cents on the dollar, that's barely over $2,000. So I'm invested in getting the car ready, tip-top shape, and having things done. And I'm not going to have any more than another $1,400 invested in it. So I'll be in at about $3,500 in cash out of pocket in total. For a car that I'm going to hopefully sell for more than 10 grand. They say 14, 15. I'm kind of building in a buffer. If I get 10, I'll be ecstatic because I can redeploy my capital. I'm building up since COVID.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And you might get more than that, especially if you put the car under, this is a type of vehicle that's hard to get under a classic.
Yeah. It's a 30-year-old car. It's kind of in that classic realm, and everybody seems to love it. There's a lot of attention. So I'm hopeful. Now, I do have to pull back. You had asked me about the 7-figure application of barter. Let me tell you what happened. The company that makes the olive oil that I bought through liquidation, I contacted the assistant and spoke to the assistant to the president. Now, she told me that she thought that she could do something with me, but she needed to talk to somebody about it who really handled it. But she was really an advocate. We talked twice, and then it completely died. Now I'm going to go back to the company, but what I think happened is that somebody just maybe either didn't understand or didn't want to deal with it. This is a large company, and what I offered to do was to take all of their excess olive oil when they have it short dated, or if they had labels that were misstruck, so they couldn't sell it. They apparently, the oil that I bought was part of a 2-truckload liquidation that they had done.
Wow.
We're literally talking $1.1 million up to $100,000 retail of olive oil that they most likely liquidated for less than $40,000. Now
that's powerful.
Think about that. So what I was offering to do was basically say, listen, I'm going to be the person that pays you the most for anything that you liquidate, and we'll agree upon a price, and I'll be far higher than any liquidator, and I'm going to actually pay you in the goods and services that your company needs. Employee incentives, lodging, travel, medical, dental, vision. There's so many things logistically that I could do for them, and they could have paid in full with that olive oil without any cash.
Wow.
Right? And that would have been 7 figures. That's literally a 7-figure That was a 7-figure opportunity, and we'll see if I'm able to pull it together. You know.
Now, with that 7-figure opportunity, when it comes to the bartering system, and it's a valuable system that wealthy individuals use on a regular basis, do you have to have contracts in place to make sure that those deals get solidified by using the bartering system?
Yeah, and you know what? I'm going to tell you this, Arthur. I think there's a phrase that goes around that you buy the seller,
Mm.
and there's some real truth to that. If you lie down with the wrong animal, you're going to come up with fleas. You know. And so if the business, it's fairly easy to do some due diligence, just cursory due diligence to find out if this is a fly-by-night organization or a solid one.
Mm.
A solid, yeah, there's certain paperwork and things that you can put in place to make sure that you're, as a go-between, as a broker, you're basically protected. Now, at the end of the day, there's an honor system to it. If a person decides that they don't want to do what's right by you, you might be, there's civil suits, there's all sorts of things a person can get involved in. But you and I both know that life is short. Mm-hmm. So do business with good people. People that you can look in the eye and you can come to agreements with them. Yeah, you can make an agreement on paper, but you have a reasonable chance of actually having the thing actually conclude. Right?
Now, have you go through any type of bartering deals where the individual didn't showcase integrity, where what they promised to you, it actually backfired?
Yep.
Can you explain to the audience about that?
Yeah, I bought a 26-foot box truck at the end of last year. A big diesel, turbo diesel, Mack truck, an 87 Mack truck. Now, it had a few issues that weren't disclosed. The mileage, it only had a 5-digit odometer.
Okay.
So that's kind of problematic because that only goes to 99,999 miles. Well, paperwork, it had gone through different ownership, and the paperwork I got listed the mileage at this much mileage. Well, what happened is when I got to the DMV after buying it, and digging through all this, because it looked like the truck had not really been used that much. And the mechanic I had check it out said, you know what? This truck actually looks like it potentially was only driven this many miles. What it ended up being that it had 200,000 more miles than was listed. It looked like it had 21,000 miles. It had 221,000 miles. And when I got to the DMV and got everything ferreted out, they saw what had happened. The employee from the DMV had come out and certified the lower mileage, but in their system, it showed the real mileage. So I actually had people. So it was one of those things where I don't know if the DMV employee and the seller conspired or what, but I ended up with a vehicle that I had bought which cost me, like, as you know, little to almost nothing.
Right.
And I was able to sell it and basically break even on it. That was it. For most people, that would have been a financial catastrophe. They'd have lost thousands of dollars. Because of the financial leverage I employ, I lost, I think I lost $700. But I bartered for 3 vehicles last year, and I did well. So that was one of the 3. And I bartered with a whole bunch of other stuff. So I win so much more than I lose. It wasn't even worth. I just got rid of it and kept it moving.
Absolutely.
That was the devastating loss I had last year, and it wasn't so devastating,
Right.
Okay?
So you broke even on the car, but breaking even is pretty much you losing anyway.
Yeah, I mean, because you want your capital to you want to be able to deploy capital, have it make a return, redeploy it. You just want to keep it moving, right?
Absolutely.
Unless you buy something like that car, I could sit on that car and it probably won't do anything but stay at that value or go up. But because I want my capital out of it, and I have other opportunities, I want to keep that money moving. But no, that was a loss. But again, that was not in the scheme of things, it didn't really hurt me that much. It was one of those things. I was frustrated with the seller.
Mm-hmm.
The seller is a well-regarded business person.
Mm.
So it was one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I'm going to chalk it up to experience.
Mm-hmm.
He's got a good business. I probably would use his business. He has a major upholstery business.
Mm.
And I think it was just a comedy of errors. I think it was stuff he didn't know.
Right.
He wanted to sell something, and in his haste to want to sell something, maybe he didn't check all the boxes. And he should have. I wouldn't do it that way, but
Mm-hmm.
I'm not gonna lose sleep over it. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And he probably was just anxious just to, you know, liquidate and just get
Yeah.
some type of cash flow out of that deal.
Yeah.
And that's what normally happens when people are uneducated with the asset that they currently have.
Yes. He had actually been owed money and was given that truck as a partial payment. So it just said,
Mm.
you know,
Wow.
yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, let's take the bartering solution system to another level. Now, you know, I deal with people all the time where they are entrepreneurs and business owners. And let's just say, you know, you have, you know, national, international banks that are sitting on hidden marketed assets within their business, but they're not utilizing it in terms of the bartering system. Or you have, you know, entrepreneurs and business owners that generate millions of dollars in the private equity sector, but they're not using the assets that they're currently have in their business. Is just sitting there. What advice would you give a private equity firm or another entrepreneur that are sitting on assets that they're not utilizing, where they can actually, you know, turn it into cash, where they can where they can barter, where they can level up and add tremendous value to the marketplace?
That is a great question. I love that question. Okay, so what I would say is when you're talking about VCs, we're talking about people who have an embarrassment of riches a lot of times, and
Mm-hmm.
they're hoping for one home run out of 10. They're sitting on
Mm.
these assets. Now, from a practical standpoint, when you're looking at something from the lens of barter, you're looking at harvesting basically almost retail or max value from it.
Mm.
So you're not prone to take big paper losses on things. You know, when I'll give you an example. You're a firm. And of course, the real estate market's gone vertical recently. But remember when the real estate market was tanking?
Right.
Through barter, people that had there was a restaurant group. I'm trying to remember if it was Applebee's or one of them. They liquidated 41 restaurants. It was a barter transaction
Mm.
where they liquidated like 41 restaurants, and they bartered it them to a media group for advertising. Because remember, advertising in the barter world is huge.
Absolutely.
If the time is not sold, you can't get it back.
Mm.
It's like a hotel room. If the day passes and it's not filled, you can't get that day back.
Mm.
So you got to get some value from it. So media companies will take assets. Will agree in some cases to take assets in lieu of cash because they can liquidate those assets for cash. So this person was able to actually get not full value for the buildings, but much more value than they ever could selling them for cash.
Mm.
And were able to get in media. So the media group took over the real estate. The restaurant group got all of this advertising to advertise the rest of their other groups and their other interests. Mm-hmm. So everybody won. And it was a multi-million-dollar deal. Matter of fact, the person that structured the barter deal actually was paid a commission. He made a $615,000 commission on that deal.
Mm. Powerful.
Oh, extremely powerful. Now, if you have a fleet of vehicles, if you have any assets, if you have employees can be bartered. If you have excess capacity, excess space, you can make a barter deal and have somebody utilize that space, right? Mm-hmm. Especially if they're not a competing company, but they're maybe a company you can collaborate with. There's so many things that you can do, especially in these times, in these hard economic times, to come together and collaborate and create value, more value than one. You can make it a synergistic value. So employees, if you have employees standing around, you can barter them to be used by somebody else. It's really amazing if you start letting your mind go there and think about the possibilities. I'll tell you, there's a a real estate group that I met with. They ultimately decided not to do the deal. The executive vice president met with me. They have over 40 properties, over 10,000 apartments. And I proposed that the empty apartments, that if they would give me use of the apartments, I would trade their empty apartments for landscaping and other business services that they are spending money on. Now, that's a $4 to $6 million a year problem to them. The problem is they're $1 billion company. So it wasn't they didn't think it was a big enough problem to put that emphasis on. But I could literally have become a real estate group overnight by controlling a whole bunch of like 400 or 500 apartments. I told them to give me just a few apartments to trade and to fill and to make money off of, and I would pay them full price for them in all the goods and services that they need. So that could work for a large corporation.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
And you know, Eric, they absolutely do those type of deals, but those type of deals are not showcased to the world.
Not at all.
That's like more in-house.
Exactly. It's like a shadow economy, I call it, in a way. Right? Because it's like secrets that people don't want you to know, because they want you to believe that they're getting cash for everything. But in a perfect world, in a perfect scenario, people that barter, that really understand barter as much as they can. Because from a tax standpoint, I'm not a tax person.
Right.
But so I'm talking to your accountant about this. But the tax form is a 1099-B. As long as you cover your basis for taxes, and as a business owner, you can expense everything. If you have legitimate business expenses, you can drop your tax base to very low. So
absolutely,
right?
Absolutely, your taxes will be real low to a certain amount of minimum.
That's right.
Now, with the bartering system, let's switch gears and let's take it to another level with how me and a lot of people that I know in my network, they travel, they use hotels all the time, they travel, commercial airlines, and how can they leverage bartering system by getting involved with airline tickets or getting involved with going to hotels?
Okay.
How can they reduce their costs in those two genres?
Okay, I can tell you that the more rare something is, the higher the value of it. And many times there's a multiple attached to it, believe it or not. It can be a multiple to retail, which is amazing. I mean, think about that. The market price is 500, but because it's so rare, people might be getting 1,200 for that thing in barter. So airline tickets are very rare. They're like gold. If you get them, good for you. That would be something where if you're a corporation, especially, you might want to see if you can talk to the airline directly, to corporate, and see if you could make some kind of arrangement with them. If you'd be an approved vendor to the airlines, in lieu of cash for a portion of your business, you could obviously trade tickets, right? If you have if you're in any kind of endeavor where you have assets that you believe would be valuable to a corporation like an airline, approach them. The best thing is to approach. All they can say is no, but you may be surprised. An RFP could be put together, and if they had a request for proposal out, you could have a barter element to that proposal that you added in. So I'm just saying it's possible. And the hotels are all over the world. I've got hotels all over the world. You want to go to Hawaii for 3 weeks? I got you, like right now. You know what I mean? Hotels are like money all the time. They're always available, especially from COVID. COVID really hurt hotels so bad.
Yes, they did. It took a major hit.
So there's tons of capacity. I've got access to crazy 5-star resorts all over the world. Matter of fact, the other day I had one. It's $14,000 per night. I've got a 4-night package available. Now, if you go on their website, it's $14,000 a night. But my cost on 4 nights on that thing is like under 10, well under 10 for 4 nights. So person wanted that package and I had the time.
So it's under 10,000.
Yeah, my cost on that would be literally a few $1,000s, and that normally would be a $56,000 4-day package.
And where is it located?
It's in Mexico. It's a resort. I believe it's a resort in Mexico, but it's
Okay.
like
Mexico City.
No, I'd have to get back to you on that, but it's it's a major resort. It's a major resort. It's give me a moment. I don't want to just take too much of your time. But let me just quickly see if I can find it. If I can find it, I'll tell you exactly what it is. But like in person as we speak, right? I know it really is exciting. Okay, so let me scroll down because I belong to so many different organizations, right? So I'm constantly getting. I've got all these private Facebook groups I'm in, and I'm getting offers all the time. Let's see here. Oh, we got an offer for a Holiday Inn Express Boulder, Colorado certificates. They expire August 1st. Hotels.com has a hotel for $181 per night. If I were to buy them for myself, it would cost me $40.
Wow.
See what I mean? That hotel
That's
room
a
cost
huge
me $40.
savings. Huge savings.
36. Yeah, think about that. 36. Yeah. That was Holiday Inn Express, but it's in Boulder. But I'm going to find that one. I'm going down. I'm probably going to come across it pretty soon. I mean, it is a major resort. Okay, let's see. Is that it? No, that's not it. I appreciate your patience. Okay, I'm sorry I didn't have something like this pulled up and ready to go to show you because it's so much fun you never know what you're going to see. I actually have travel brokers I can call and ask what's available. What big things are available.
Are they called travel brokers?
Yeah. We actually have travel brokers in every professional group has travel brokers. This is interesting. Italy for 3 in September of 2022. A week in September. There's a villa down there, and I'm trying to do the cost. That vacation would cost me less than $800, $900 for the week. A week in Italy.
And how much is the whole trip?
I'm just looking at all that because what it is you got resort fees, you got cleaning fees and things like that. That actually would cost me probably no more than $750 to $800 for the full week, September 10th through the 17th of next year. That vacation for most people would probably cost them about $2,000 to with all the fees and everything, probably $2,000, $2,500. It cost me about $8,000.
Wow.
See what I mean?
Wow.
So
yes.
I can go on 3 vacations on that type and stay 3 stays and you have 1. You know what I mean? It's just mind blowing.
It's mind blowing.
I want to show you that one that I was telling you about though. I've got to give you that information. I know you can. I'm getting close here. I think I'm getting pretty close here. I don't think I passed it. I may have to call you about it if I can. I don't think I passed it. So the thing is, some of the search engines aren't as good in some of these groups as some of the other ones.
Right.
Search features. I'm using the search feature to see if I can maybe see it. But it's not showing up. It was a grand resort of some sort, and I'm just trying to remember where it was, what city it was in. Because if I remembered the city, I would tell you. Was it Carrizo? I can't remember it. I could kick myself. But as I look, if you have any other questions for me, we'll just keep rolling. I can multitask with that.
Okay. So, like, for example, let's say I want to take me and my family to a resort in Hawaii. How will I actually leverage that where I'm getting into the bartering system and I'm paying less, but I'm enjoying my whole vacation without putting more out of my pocket.
Okay, well, again, I'm gonna attack it in two different ways. Now you're talking about you could actually join a barter group
Mm-hmm.
and monetize your whatever your profit margin is in your business.
Mm-hmm.
Instantly plug that in. So if you're a restaurant and let's say you 20 to 30% food cost, somewhere
Mm-hmm.
there, obviously if that vacation in Hawaii was $7,000 for a week and a half or whatever, a week, let's say,
Mm-hmm.
a real nice resort, you're in at 30%. So that's $2,100.
Mm.
The thing is, congratulations. That same vacation for me, I'm at 18 cents, let's say, because I usually not more than 20% on the dollar. So 18, 20. So let's say 18 at 7,000. What is that? $1,260.
Mm.
See what I mean? It's
Right.
yeah, it's hard to fathom sometimes, but that's literally how it works. That's literally how it's doable. Now, once you're in Hawaii, again, let's think, Arthur, if this is a place that you like going to, and you start going around and you're going to be coming back,
Mm-hmm.
why not start laying the groundwork with businesses and people around you that you meet and places you go and finding out, basically trying to harvest what people need, what are their wants and their needs, and
Right.
just taking notes. And then you look in your network and see how you can fulfill those things for a fraction of what it would cost them,
Mm.
right? If you
Mm.
do that, then when you pass that along to them and say, hey, I want restaurant certificates, here's that the supplies you wanted, here's that thing that you wanted, that's $4,000. Well, guess what? I want 4,000 in restaurant and food. Heck, I want 6,000 in food.
Mm-hmm.
They might say yes. They know their cost. They know their numbers. As long as they know their numbers and you know your numbers, everybody wins. If they don't know
Mm.
the numbers, the thing is, if you're dealing with someone who's not savvy with numbers, you have to teach them.
Right.
What you don't want is for them to feel like they were taken advantage of. We can't have that. You want to come
Mm.
back. You want to be able to do more with them. So they have to be comfortable. As a matter of fact, my specialty is giving people, they many times feel that they got more than I did, which I love.
Mm.
If they
Absolutely.
if they perceive that they made out like a bandit,
Mm-hmm.
more power to them.
Mm.
Because
Wow.
they see me coming, they're gonna want to do another deal.
Now, how can you take that same blueprint for people that want to, get their teeth cleaned in regards to, dental?
Oh, we've got tons of dentists in our network. Matter of fact, I just spent $250. I bought a $250 tooth whitening session at a dentist in Scottsdale.
Mm.
I bought it 2 or 3 days ago. I need my teeth whitened. I'm 18 cents on the dollar. Think about that. So,
Mm.
I mean, it cost me what? So that $250 certificate cost me, what was it, $45?
Wow.
So basically, that certificate, I could have bought it and sold it to somebody else.
Mm.
I could say, hey, I got a certificate. It's 250. It's half off. It's $125. I make $80 profit. I mean,
Mm.
you see what I mean?
Yes, absolutely.
It's so powerful. There's a Scottsdale surgeon, a plastic surgeon that does mommy makeovers and everything on barter.
Mm.
He only does a few a year.
Wow.
You do a $50,000 mommy makeover.
Mm.
It'll cost me $9,000.
Mm.
I
Wow.
can sell it for double. I mean, you see what I'm trying to say?
Absolutely.
Barter is,
It's huge on a big scale.
if you knew the wealth that was in the groups, if you saw the types of businesses, there are heating and cooling companies that have full systems available for barter. They'll put the machine in and the labor, barter. And you're like,
Mm.
window cover. I mean, anything, you ask me and I'll tell you if it's in the group already. I mean, it's amazing. So basically, I tell my friends, before you spend any money on something, bounce it off me and find out if I can take care of you.
Now, for people that, they pretty much are going to the dentist, but they want to get their teeth scaled, pretty much getting the plaque off their teeth, they can actually borrow that as well.
Yeah. Yes. We have many dentists in all the barter networks I belong to.
Hmm.
Dental, vision. We have medical doctors,
Mm.
medical spas, medical dental vision on barter. I mean, that's major.
Wow.
Major employee benefit.
Hmm.
So think about it. You're a company and you've got 5 employees, and you can barter. You can put your flexible spending account. I mean, you can set things up to where you can actually use those services that you're bartered for, and it's an employee incentive. Their perception, the employees' perception is that they're just getting loads of value, and they are. It's just not costing you that much.
Mm.
And then you're sending your employees on great vacations that maybe they couldn't afford. Let's face it.
Right.
An employee for, you know what? I got a week in Hawaii. You want to go? And they're like, I can't afford that. I got you. I mean,
Mm.
at 18 cents, 20 cents on the dollar, 25 cents on the dollar, you know, and you have to remember, it's the market value. You're writing off things based on their value, not on what you paid for,
Right.
on what the value is.
Mm.
Think about that. Think about that.
Absolutely. Now, for the entrepreneurs and business owners that are in the private equity sector, they basically have a private equity company.
Yes.
Eric, would you give them a thorough assessment in regards to the assets that they own versus the liabilities?
Yes.
And you will actually take them through that process. So how can they actually generate income by having a private equity company, by getting involved with the bartering system?
Well, I think really we need to think about profit centers versus loss centers.
Okay.
A lot of companies have staff that, for all intents and purposes, they're support staff.
Hmm.
So a person could say, yeah, they make us money,
Hmm.
but do they?
Mm.
If you have staff and you can get them to employ barter within an organization, let's say you're a private equity group, and somebody like me can come in and basically do a line by line item assessment of assets, and I'm talking about tangible and intangible. I'm not talking about just trucks and stuff. I'm talking about your people, your
Mm.
your infrastructure. If you have call centers and they're not fully utilized, how can I maximize the use of that call center to make sure there's not a loss? How can I
Mm.
maximize the use of the fleet to make sure the employees to make sure they're not lost? If you have intellectual property,
Mm.
let's say software and licenses, those can be, you can barter those and get stuff that normally you pay money for. Again, it's, you know, anything you can think about that could be an asset probably can be an asset.
Hmm.
And you can turn a liability, what would normally be a money loser, into a money maker by employing financial leverage through barter. If yeah, like I said, if you have if you've got a call center staff and they're not being fully utilized, and you make a barter deal and you're paying them anyway,
Right.
paying them anyway,
Absolutely. Absolutely. They're already on your payroll.
now on your payroll, maximize the use of the employee. Dan Kennedy said that employees are rented assets. We've all
Mm.
been rented assets before. That's what we are. If they're not
Absolutely.
returning an investment, you have to ask yourself why they're there. I
Mm.
believe that everybody deserves a job. If you don't serve a function, why are you working?
Mm.
If you're not bringing value, why does a business have to pay you? See, as business owners, you and I, we're entrepreneurs. We understand we pay ourselves last as entrepreneurs when we're doing business deals,
Mm.
right? When we're in business and we're employing people, we get paid last. They may perceive something different, but that's the real deal. So it's all about maximizing value. A private equity group should be interested in not losing money just because they're going to gain money over here. You don't want to lose money and to take paper write downs over here. If you
Hmm.
don't have to take a paper loss, don't take a paper loss. Fully harvest the value out of your intellectual properties, your people, your staff, your building, everything that you own. Holistically look at it and say, how can I harvest value out of every piece of this business? and test it.
Mm.
Somebody like me that's an expert in it can easily help to do that. You just give me a call and we build scenarios together and see how we can harvest value. And you'd be amazed at the things that your average layperson has that has value. So a private equity firm, are you kidding me?
Yes, absolutely. So, for example, Eric, you have a man or a woman that owns a private equity firm, or it's basically a collective of entrepreneurs
Right,
that owns a private equity firm. So they have income producing assets that's generating EBITDA, which
right,
that's the cash flow of a business, and they're buying other companies where they're generating dividends from their companies, but they actually building that book of business up, right?
right.
So if they basically called you and say, look, Eric, I want you to give me a thorough assessment of my assets versus my liabilities. I want to actually, get into the bartering system and turn this into a 10-figure deal. What
Right.
advice would you give them?
I'd give them the advice to call on an expert, someone that they perceive to be someone that could be of help. The person would probably have to sign NDAs.
Right. Non-disclosure agreements.
Right, right.
Mhm.
And really, it's really about the conversation. I think they're very savvy people. I've spoken to a lot of private equity firms, a lot of
Mm,
people. It's funny, they're kind of minted from the same business schools, from these business schools. They
mhm,
have the same language. These men and women that you speak to, they use the same vocabulary. They say the same.
mm,
It's very interesting when you start to hear that vernacular. But um, if if you can sit down and speak to them like we're speaking right now, they're going to
mhm,
know, hey, this is a person that understands that that there may be more than meets the eye, that we may have access to more assets than we even realize.
mm.
Because most of the time, as things age, the perception is that they lose value. Well, to who? Say one man's trash is another man's treasure.
Facts.
I live that.
Mm,
I live the epitome of that statement. A
mm,
person will not want this tower computer, and I turn it into $500. This
mhm.
old laptop, I turn it into $300 in a nice meal at a nice restaurant. You know what I mean? It's like, it's amazing. It really is. But you have to allow yourself the chance to sit down, calm down, get your coffee or whatever, and have your mind expanded, because this people used to barter as a matter of business in
Mhm.
years past and decades past and centuries past, and they've gotten away from it. They now believe in fiat currency. That's the only way to get value, with a declining dollar. That's not
Mhm.
tied to anything. We're not on the gold standard. We haven't been for over 50 years, basically.
Yeah,
So,
absolutely. The dollar has lost, more than 80% of its purchasing power.
right. When I barter for something, I have a store of value. There's a person I belong to, Watch Trading Academy. His name is PJ Gadimi, Pejman,
Mhm.
Persian, incredible mind. He established a term called BCV, bottom cash value. He says when you go to CarMax and you want to sell your car, you call CarMax. They give you bottom cash value. That day, what that car is worth in the market. You ain't going to get any more. You ain't going to get any less. But you know that you can cash that car in at any time and get that money. If you look at those billboards that say we buy houses, you're going to get bottom cash value offered to you for that house.
Mm.
You're going to get all the money in the world. You're going to get what they're going to make their money. So they're going to give you a number. And what in my world, the way I do things,
Mhm.
I buy stuff below bottom cash value most of the time.
Mm.
Below. So if I lose, I still get out with my investment or more.
Mm. Wow.
Right?
Absolutely.
The car that I bought, I can sell that car for $3,500 like now. Get my money out.
Mhm.
Why would I want to do that? But I'm saying my bailout, if I call CarMax, I probably get, who knows, it's a 91 classic, so they may not play,
Mhm.
but I can get out of that car everything I put in and more on a fire sale. Think about fire sales. Think about liquidation. If I liquidate my assets that I get through barter,
Mhm.
I make money.
Mm.
I sold gold cufflinks to a pawn shop in town. I knew that buys gold.
Mhm.
They paid me more than a jeweler because jewelers would rip you off, you know.
Right, absolutely.
You don't sell fish to a fisherman, okay? So,
Right.
but literally, I sold some 18 karat gold cufflinks I bartered for, and I made a few $100s in profit at a pawn shop.
Mm.
If that doesn't convince you, I don't know. You profitable selling to a pawn shop, you make money going to a pawn shop, you're in the right business,
Right.
right?
Right. It all comes back to business.
Yeah,
And you can basically educating the business owner on how they can actually get involved and take advantage of the bartering system. So,
right.
it's like, if I got 3 cats and you have livestock,
Yep.
could be chickens, and I want those chickens, well, let's do a bartering. Let's do a trade.
Yep.
I trade you this amount for this amount, and guess what? Everybody's happy and everybody's satisfied. Well, that's
Right.
how the wealthy
Yeah.
people think.
Well, think about
And
this. I'll hit you with this. Remember I told you about the car? Okay,
yeah.
so right now, let's just say on this call, I said, listen, um, when the car comes out of the shop, I'll take 20 grand in crypto for the car.
Mm.
It cost me $3,500. Somebody might actually go, 20,000 in crypto, Bitcoin. I might do that deal, right?
That's right.
To get 20 grand in crypto of some sort offered to me, maybe 25. Who knows? For a car, you get 14, 15,000 for potentially,
Mm.
but I might be able to make that deal like even faster.
Right.
What happens to that crypto? What if it goes up to,
Hmm.
right? So
That's
it's
right.
mind blowing. It's just like,
Mm. Yes, people, they haven't been, exposed to this information. There's nothing new under the sun, but you don't know what's under the sun. Your greatest expense is what you don't know.
yes,
And then what you may know, they may be beneficial to you, but it's no substitute for experience. You have to, learn the information and then implement it. And that's how that information is going to become your reality
yes,
once it works for you and your family and your business alliances.
right. And I will tell you, Arthur, there's something that I gotta say. Some things are not a bargain in any price. And you and I
Mm,
know that, right? Just because something looks like a bargain, you have to have a nose for value,
mm,
real true intrinsic value, not a bargain per se. It's on a bargain table and like, oh, it's $70. Now it's 5. Yeah, the thing ain't worth 25 cents. I mean, you know what I mean? It really depends on what it is. Can you harvest value from it? You have to have someone who's pragmatic, who understands value and
mm,
how to unlock intrinsic value in something, how to see it, and
mm,
can tell you, yeah, it's valuable. No, it would seem to be, but it's not. And that
mm,
takes experience and expertise and a gut for it. And I've got that.
mm,
So a person can do I've given you a kind of an overview and a formula of how a person could actually do it.
mm,
But my perception is this. There are real estate agents in every market that are very, very successful. And what they do is they hold these free classes on how to sell your house. And they teach you A to Z how to sell it. Everything, no stone unturned. And at the end of the class, they're like, okay, have at it, sell your house. And they got a line of people coming to them to sell their house. And they're like, wait a second, I taught you everything. They're like, yeah, but no, no. I'm gonna stay in my lane. You do this. I'm
right.
just an expert. So deal with the experts. Deal with an expert.
That's
You
right.
you can splash around and learn. You may be a math whiz, fantastic.
Hmm.
But I'm just saying, if you're not, and if you don't have all the time in the world to add something to your plate, enlist an expert and have a conversation.
Absolutely.
Have the conversation.
Absolutely. You have to listen to the expert because they know,
Yep.
and they've been through, the trials and tribulations of that particular business.
Yeah.
So, once you have somebody that's an expert on your team and they're willing to, share the value in regards to what you're pursuing, then you're going to be in business for a long time. And then you're also going to put, smiles on other people's faces because happy customers are loyal customers. They keep coming back to you wanting your products or your services.
That's right. That's right. And I'll tell you right now, I'm of the mind that, um, yeah, would I be retained by a family office or a VC group?
Hmm.
Absolutely. I wouldn't mind. I'm not looking for a job, but I would love to be retained to be like the barter expert in residence.
Mm.
Basically, hey, we got this. Look at this. What do we got? What are we not seeing? What can we harvest even more out of this?
Mm.
How can we do it? And I do it. And here's a proposal. This is the proposed solution to this thing here. And then
Mm.
I'm like, and I get my check. They can barter me. I'll take some barter. Barter things. Hey, absolutely. Because
Right.
I'm good at harvesting cash out of things anyway. So if a person was reticent to pay cash, but they had some stuff, they had a nice car they wanted to give me, I'll take it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It opens your world up. Right now, I'm gonna tell you, Arthur. I think I mentioned it to you, but I have the ability to get media, all forms of media, and I can trade a person. You want some major media advertising, online, offline, TV, newspaper, print, whatever. I can get that stuff. So why pay this
Mm.
before you talk to somebody like me? You want to be a Fortune magazine? We'll make it happen. You know, USA
Right.
Today, we got you. But
It's not what you know, it's who you know.
it's the network, it's the Rolodex,
Mm-hmm.
and you can either pay for it one way or pay for it another.
That's right. And
I'll pay.
access is power.
That's right. That's right.
Mm.
Yeah.
Wow.
But I like how you keep going to like the higher level, family offices, VCs,
Mm-hmm.
capital groups, funding groups, because that is I think a very untapped area.
Mm.
You know,
Yes, absolutely.
I also think on the other side of things, people who are approaching VCs many times don't need cash. They need access. They need things that they could get without cash.
Mm.
You know, if you're a software startup and you have something that's licensable, somebody like me could get a lot of stuff that you need, advertising that you might need, without you having to get seed money to launch for advertising.
Mm.
If you're pre-seed or just got some seed capital, keep that in your pocket. Deploy it in other things that you actually need it for. Have a strategy, but make sure that you don't fire off. Your burn rate, your cash. Is your mind. I mean, that's the whole thing. So protect that cash. And somebody like me can help a person to protect their cash.
Absolutely. Protect your cash. And it's very, very lucrative to preserve your wealth, and
Penny saved, penny earned.
absolutely. Eric, I appreciate you coming on my show today because the whole premise of my show is to educate entrepreneurs and business owners that they can live the life that they truly desire, but they have to be open to these important principles. So I don't like what I see what's on the news, so I create my own news.
That's right. That's right. And you have the Rolodex. You have me. I'm like an arrow in your quiver.
Mm.
Archer, you got all these arrows. You're like, well, I'm gonna deploy Eric. He got this one. Zing, right?
Yes.
If you need me, you have somebody, you have a client, an associate that needs something, needs a conversation. The three of us talk. We'll find a way to make it happen and make sure that they harvest the maximum value of what they got, whether it's tangible or intangible. We can do that.
All right. That we definitely want to make it happen.
That's right, man.
Eric, let's have a conversation about money. Now, I know money is not value. Money is just a facilitator to do transactions. Can you explain to the audience, how would you define money?
Boy, that's a good one. What is it? Who is it? Is it the Yappies? They have those big stones. Remember their wealth on that island where they have they keep their money in their front yard. Remember the stones?
Mm-hmm.
It's like a big wheel, and they pay things with it, but nobody steals it. It's like sitting in the front yard. It's their money. Money is basically supposed to be a store of value, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or there's so many ways that people explain it, but money is a medium to receive goods and services by exchanging it for those goods and services.
Mm-hmm.
Money can be fiat currency, but it can be anything. It can be you have something that somebody needs. To them, it's money. If you giving water out in the desert, you got money. and Thurston Howell, on Gilligan's Island, when they crashed on the island, the rich man, what would you have paid and exchanged for basic things? that
Mm.
he and beloved wife needed? What would he have contracted to give you when they got off that island?
Mm.
If you could have provided a certain thing, it's perception, right? Money is
Mm-hmm.
the perception of value, right?
Right.
So to me, I use money all the time, but just in different forms. I just don't use this fiat currency, the greenbacks in my wallet. I try to pull that out last, and it's not because I'm cheap.
Mm-hmm.
I overpay for things all the time. The perception to people that I do business with, and many times, is that I overpaid them. I gave them $6,000 in value for $5,000, the thing that I wanted from them. They don't understand that the $6,000 thing I gave them cost me $1,200. So they give me 5,000. I gave them 6,000, but it cost me 12. So they won. They're thrilled. I'm thrilled.
Right. It's a win-win.
Yeah. Yeah.
So would you say that money is a byproduct of the value that you uncover?
Ooh, okay. Money is a byproduct of the value that I guess you could say that. I think that money is the medium by which you show that there's value in what there's been uncovered.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever has been uncovered, you give it value. You assign value to it by using the medium of money or some kind of exchange.
Mm-hmm.
You now assign value to that thing.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not just assigning it verbally. I'm like, here you go. I'm actualizing the value of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
You in greenbacks, I'm gonna give it to you in shoe polish. I'm gonna give it to you in, these insulated mugs. I got 1,000 insulated mugs.
Mm-hmm.
I print your team logo on them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's money can be just about anything.
Mm-hmm.
And I wish that more people would understand that, because they're addicted to cash. They're addicted to this. I just spent my cash. Well, guess what? I'm not carrying cash in my wallet. I'm addicted to value. Look at this. Show you something. See this? See these? That's restaurant certificates. That's $20.
Mm.
That's cash.
By trade.
Yeah, almost $100 in restaurant for me to eat a restaurant. That's cash, Arthur.
Mm.
It just doesn't look like it to people. People's minds want to shut down sometimes.
Right.
Oh, money. That's not fun. There's nothing funny about this. I get a nice meal and some alcohol included. Okay, so you telling me about miss me with telling me this is funny money. This ain't funny money.
That's real money.
That's right. And when I show up at these restaurants that do this, they like me. They see me because you know what? The tip is cash.
Mm.
And I tip well. And I'm being paid to tip well because of the right?
That's right. Because of the leverage that you already have.
Yeah.
And they know you bring value to that particular restaurant.
Exactly.
Mm.
Exactly. And of course the restaurant's getting value because those credits go into their advertising budget and their vacations for the restaurant owners and all the things that they need for their life that they're able to use their food to buy. So it's a fantastic lifestyle. I tell people everybody should enjoy it, should try it, should dip their foot in it, their toe. I was gonna say your toe, dip your toe in it, throw a leg in it. You know?
Absolutely. They have to be all in. But like you said, they have to, change their paradigm from negative thinking to take action thinking by getting involved in the bartering undeniable system.
Yep.
Now, for the entrepreneurs and business owners that, they do a lot of food shopping. They shop at Acme, they go to, shopping bag, they go to, the Aldi's, or they go to Whole Foods. How can they actually barter groceries when they're doing grocery shopping?
Okay, a lot of the barter groups, the professional groups, do barter. They get banana boxes in.
Mm.
A lot of liquidators are in barter networks, so I use a lot of them. I go in and I see pallets of Capri Sun, pallets of this, pallets of that, and a lot of these things are in date. Americans have a very, very hard time eating things that are past the best by date. Right. I don't.
Okay.
So something with that stuff is just as good as anything.
Mm.
I'm olive oil, the best by date passed, that olive oil, that gourmet olive oil, I eat it all the time on my salad and stuff. It's exquisite.
Mm.
There's so much food. One of the liquidators that I barter with, I was at his place and a guy came in and he had seafood. The guy actually had seafood, and he wanted to get rid of it. He needed to get rid of this frozen seafood.
Mm.
And the guy said, he did not have a place for all this frozen food. So the guy literally had to leave to try to find somebody to take this frozen seafood for almost nothing.
Mm.
But that guy would have been bartering. If that liquidator had a big enough freezer section, he's a barter member. He'd have bartered that seafood, that lobster, and all that stuff that was being bartered. He'd have bartered it. So there's a lot of grocery things and a lot of the perishable food goes fast. It's kind of hard. It goes real fast. But your deodorants and your toothpaste and all the sundries, all of the women's needs, the shaving, so all that stuff, I get that through my trade groups.
Mm.
I don't have to shop for it. I can just buy. When I go up there, I can get my lotions and a lot of times it's nicer stuff than what you normally get. You're basically getting something higher in than you'd normally spring for.
Mm. Mm-hmm.
Like olive oil. Most people don't spend $30 for olive oil.
Right.
They get a nice extra virgin olive oil and pay $12, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But this stuff is $33. I eat it all the time. Cost me nothing. You see what I say? So it really does raise your level. It raises your lifestyle while protecting your wealth.
Absolutely. It raises your level of awareness to what is possible, for you and, for the people that are actually involved in your network.
Yes. It can raise if people in the public knew what I know, and utilized it, people of every social economic class would do so much better, even do better. The poorest of us have things that they can barter. Many times,
wow.
Sometimes it's time.
Mm-hmm.
Your time.
Now, for the people that, I know a lot of people, they love, looking good, especially when they're going out, with their family, or they're getting, involved and doing business meetings with their, businessmen that are in the network, or businesswomen. They love looking good. They love, they love wearing the Gucci and the Louis and, all, the big brands. How can they actually barter with what they already invested in with, wearing, the Gucci attire or the Louis attire?
Well, I'll tell you this. I'm going to go a little bit different. Okay, so first of all, we get stuff like that through the networks all the time. And the thing is, they have to authenticate it, right? Because counterfeits is just huge. The counterfeit luxury market is huge.
Right.
So we do authenticate things. I had a Louis Vuitton pocket organizer. It was called a push do something. But it was a little, a friend had it. She said, my husband never uses it. It was a gift. He's a Velcro wallet guy. He's he's not using this thing.
Mm-hmm.
I said, well, what do you want for it? She goes, well, I said, what do you need? She goes, well, I need a washing machine. I said, well, I'll get you a washing machine for this. Just give it to me. I'll get you a washing machine. I'll trade you. She's like, oh, really? And then she gave it to me, and then she got a washing machine. She went and bought it. I was like, wait a second. I was going to get you. I had a washing machine for you. I said, well, I tell you what, do you like food? She goes, yeah. I said, let me send you all out to a real nice dinner, give you some certificates. So I gave her $250 worth of restaurant certificates in Phoenix, in Scottsdale, for that organizer. I paid her $250 for it. And I authenticated it. She didn't have to worry about any of it.
Wow.
It was nothing. And then but I made money on it because I actually got a lot more than that in value. See what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
When I bartered it. So it's a win-win, especially for people who are struggling. You can look around and take stock of what your assets are.
Mm-hmm.
Another thing, for a person who's not struggling, but wants to discreetly get rid of things, when people who are wealthy, many times don't want to lose face. So when they want to get rid of something, they want to do it discreetly. Well, the thing is, barter is wonderful because you can get rid of it and get much more value many times for that thing. If you don't need the cash, but you need the value of it, right?
Right.
If it's a third car, if it's you've got this BMW, this 2008 BMW sitting in your driveway, you don't really use it.
Mm-hmm.
If you were to sell it, you get, I don't know what you get, maybe 10, 12, I don't know. But I could get you a lot more than that for it.
Mm.
You know what I mean? In value.
Right.
Send you on vacations, like that 5-star vacation I was talking about.
Mm-hmm.
I take that car and probably send you on vacation. You know?
Mm.
You see what I'm trying to say? So
Right.
it's amazing what you can do, and that's for a wealthier person. That's somebody who actually has vehicles, timepieces. I traded timepieces. I traded vehicles. You name it. Clothing. Clothing goes. If you got designer clothing, you can put it through Goodwill. I go to Goodwill. Goodwill Good Threads has all the high-end clothing. That's where they send it, and I've gotten great stuff there. But a lot of stuff comes through the barter networks. High-end clothing, stuff that's actually brand new, that has not been sold from stores, that comes through.
Wow. And they go to the Goodwill.
Yeah. Before they go to the Goodwill, instead of them giving it to Goodwill, they donate it to a charity, and then a charity says, "Well, okay, we need to do something with this." Then they donate it. They bring it to us, and we give them advertising. We give them this and that, and the other things that they need.
Mm.
They don't need all these jeans and shirts and shoes and belts.
So it's like value for value.
Yes.
Wow.
We have a lot of charity auctions. We have a big one I go at the end of the year here at the Chateau. I forget what they call it, Chateau Lux. It's a big VIP event. We all dress up, and you should see the hundreds of thousands of dollars in barter that's done for charities. You asked me a question. I'm going to answer it. You remember you talked about looking good?
Right.
You want a stretch limo? I can get a stretch limo and to drive me around during the week. It's about capacity. So that if they're low on vehicles for the weekend, you may not be able to get one all the time.
Okay.
But a great deal of the time, especially during the week, if you wanted a stretch limousine of any sort, or you wanted just a nice sedan that they could drive you around into your appointments, and you want to take notes or have meetings in the car, the barter, the limo or the sedan is barter. The gratuity is paid in cash. So if there's let's say a 20% gratuity to the driver. So I can rent a limousine, minimum of 3 hours. Let's say it's $75 an hour. A little a sedan, or let's say it is a basic limousine. $75 an hour, minimum of 3 hours. That's $225 in barter, not cash. So let's say I want it for the day. I want 8 hours. That's 560 plus, but it's 600. So it's $600 for 8 hours of use of that limousine that I would normally pay. Well, I'm only paying $600. I'm paying less than probably $100. It's going to cost me. Plus the gratuity. Now remember, the gratuity to the driver is 20% of what, or more of what the rental was. So 600, 20%, let's say, would be $120. So $100 plus 120 is $220. I paid $220. I got that limo all day. I'll probably tip the driver at least $150, so, right?
Right.
So that limo, they'll drive me all around all day. I'm a baller. I'm sitting in the limo or the vehicle with this person. I'm having meetings. I'm not having to worry about driving. And I paid $250 to do that. You pay $720 or more.
Right. Or $1,000.
See what I mean? So it's a great business tool. What you're talking about is using these things as tools for positioning and negotiation and all those things. Yeah, we can do that. You can do that.
Wow.
Do you need a limo? Let me know.
Now, let's say for the people, I know people like, sometimes they like flying, private jets, or they like chartering jets. Can that actually be used in that particular industry as well, in terms of, chartering jets or using private jets?
They do.
Your business ventures.
They do come up. packages do come up. It's not all the time. They do
Okay.
come up. A lot of times there'll be a leg of a flight on a private jet.
Mm-hmm.
And they don't want a deadhead. So they want somebody to be in that plane for that flight.
Mm-hmm.
So they'll post it. Somebody may or may not take it, but they get a chance to be on a private jet. So, they may fly into where it is, take the jet to where it is, stay there, find out something to do there, and then, fly home. But it really depends. Those things they're more rare because they're so desirable.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I'm going to challenge people. If you have utility, you have the ability to do something for someone who has a jet fleet, a private jet fleet, why would you not make a barter deal with them? It's just a higher level barter deal. Yeah, they have their hard costs of they're paying their pilot anyway. Mm-hmm. They got the fuel costs are not cheap. But if they're smart, if they do the math, if they know their numbers, you can make a deal. If you know your numbers, you can make a deal that works. If they're willing to listen, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely.
He said, give me a lever big enough I can move the world. Was it? I can't remember. I might be misquoting, but I'm just saying, everything is negotiable. If you come with something desirable enough, with the irresistible offer, they'll take it. Somebody's going to take your irresistible offer,
Now, with the irresistible offer for entrepreneurs and business owners that, they own, income producing assets like real estate, or, let's just say they own house, but they paying on their utility bills every month, the electric, gas, water. How can they leverage the bartering system to their advantage in regards to their utility bills?
Well, see, when you're talking about regulated services like utilities, that's tough. Again, it's what's in it for me. WIIFM. You can talk to the public utility, and you can talk to the compliance people. There are regulatory issues. I was literally reading a book. I don't think I have it with me, but it was talking about regulatory hacking regulatory, making deals with people, and shortcutting and finding ways to come to agreements when you're dealing with regulatory bodies and institutions. And really, it's about what's in it for me. Mm-hmm. Many times they're worried about the trouble that they can get in. Let's face it, they're worried about losing face and getting in trouble, right? Getting busted for something, some arcane rule here or archaic thing over here. But if you can understand how to navigate that world and get it and have a conversation with them in their language, you can make a deal. So really, it's a public utility. That's just something that you have to work on. It just needs to be worked on. And if somebody can work it out, it's probably been done. It's never heard about it.
It probably has been done. It's just that they basically kept that type of information camouflage from the public.
You know what? My father was dying of cancer. This ties to the story. My father was dying of cancer. Oh, wow. And he was taking transfer treatment. He was going to Mexico, and it was working. He started to do better. Mm-hmm. And he was doing better and better and better. And we found out he was checking, I think it was DeConcini's office or some local politician that handled some things. He found out that somebody's Blue Cross Blue Shield bill had been paid for. I think somehow it was attached to a bill or something like that. It was some kind of deal that had been made, mm-hmm. and it was like a one-off deal that nobody will ever get again, probably. Mm. But that person got that deal. They got their medical paid for. See what I mean?
Right.
Telling me stuff can't be done. Just about everything can be done. It's a negotiation. If you pull the right lever and push the right button, you might just do it. But it will never happen if you don't have the conversation. It will never happen if you don't try. You're guaranteed to miss 100% of the targets you don't shoot at or aim at.
You're right. Documentation beats conversation.
Thank you. You aim for the stars, you're not going to come up with a handful of mud.
Eric, I wrote down some powerful words, 10 being the highest and 1 being the lowest. So you can rate them in your own powerful way. Are you ready?
Okay, I'm ready.
Accountability.
Oh Lord. You started with that. that's in the top 3 for sure. I mean, I can't imagine.
10 the highest, 1 the lowest.
Okay. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, it's got to be. That's in the 8 to 10 range because I'm gonna probably move it. But man, that's close to 10. That's got to be up there. At least 9.
Perseverance.
Yeah, perseverance. That's wait. I'm gonna say accountability 10, perseverance 8 or 9. Let's say 9.
Building great relationships.
Relationships. We all need people. I'm gonna start there and say it's a 7 right now.
Value.
Value. That might be an 8 right there. That might be the 8. Because there are a lot of people that don't need, that don't, they can be kind of insular and still create value. But yeah, okay, let's say the 8. Okay.
Intellectual property.
Intellectual property. Oh man. You can go get by without it, but I'm going to say it's at least a 4 or 5, 4 or 5 range. Let's say, I might move it depending on what we got coming.
Family.
Oh, man, you're gonna make me move my numbers. Family is so important. But but family is who you make it to. Because sometimes we're only related to people through genetic accident, and some people don't have good family. Let's face it, you can't pick your family. You can pick your nose. You can pick your friend. You can't pick your family. Family, I'm gonna say, man, oh man, that's tough. I'm gonna put it at 6. Family is important to me. It'd be hard for me to put it even that higher, but let's go with that.
Health.
Oh Lord. I'm gonna say health is at least health. Move that 8 out. Put health at 8. Health important. Health got to go to 8.
Wealth.
Wealth, I'll put it at 5. I'll put it at 3. Let's say wealth is kind of malleable, that term. I'll put it at 3 right now.
Money.
I'll put money down there at 1.
Bartering system.
Okay. I'm put that at. Did I use 5 already?
No, you didn't use 5 already.
I'm gonna put it at 5. You put some powerful words in there. It'd be hard for me to put bartering system over family. I can't put it over accountability. I can't put it over health. Yeah, I'm gonna put it at 5 with a bullet going up.
President Joe Biden.
I'm not political. He's just the next one. Just the next one. I don't even think of it. I keep it moving. Whoever's in, this is a changeable face. I wouldn't even put it at a 1. I don't. It just doesn't. It's not. It's a non-starter to me. It doesn't even matter.
Integrity.
Oh wow. Can we have code numbers? Can things share? I would put integrity way up there with accountability. I mean, if your word doesn't mean anything, and believe me, we've all made mistakes, Arthur. I've made mistakes. Your conscience eats at you because you felt like you could have done better by this person, by this situation. We all have that. But integrity is huge. It means so much. Integrity, I'm going to put it at I'm gonna put it at 9. It's like it shares a 9, man. I guess, but you're saying I don't have to fill 10 to 1. You weren't trying to make me fill 10 to 1. You were just saying
no, 10 the highest and 1 the lowest in regards to the word I'm asking you.
Okay, I'm sorry. You know what? I was going from 10 to 1, but filling in the words at each level. You see what I say?
Right.
Hard. No. Okay. Integrity is 10. Accountability is a 10 to me. Those 2 things, because your word, who you are, my marriage, everything, who I am. My accountability, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Health is a hard 9 to a 10. Family to me is 10. I mean, it's so important to me.
Mm.
So other people that and how you define family. Um, you said bartering system. Bartering system. Okay, bartering system. I'm gonna say you don't have to have it. You should employ it in your life.
Mm.
I'm gonna say it's a. I'm gonna say you definitely. I'm gonna put it at a 7 because not everybody. I'll give you a 7. I think everybody needs to do it to some degree, especially now with what we're going through.
Mm.
7 would be
Wisdom.
wisdom is, and wisdom I think is a definite 8 to 9 for sure. I think I'll give it a 9. Wisdom is applied knowledge, knowing how to
Mm.
apply the knowledge that you gained,
Mm.
and knowing when not to apply it.
Absolutely. Top line revenue.
Top line revenue is important. Top line revenue is, I'd say, top line revenue is a 6. What you keep is what you keep. A lot of people have a lot of top line revenue and they have losses, and there are people that
Mm.
have very small revenue compared to them, and they make way more money than they do. So top line revenue sounds good. Bottom line revenue is good.
KPIs. Key performance indicators.
I'm with you. Knowing your KPIs, I think, is, I would say, a lot of people get through business successfully and never really know that stuff.
Mm.
So I would say knowledge of it is, I would say, a 7. Um, you may not know that term, and you may utilize tools and things to get you where you need, but knowing your numbers is very important. Knowing your industry numbers and your industry performance evaluation, that's important. You know,
Mm.
I'll put it 7, 7, 8 maybe.
Mathematics.
Mathematics. Oh, mathematics. I'm gonna say mathematics. I think that's an 8. You need math. Math,
Mm.
math important. Um, at least an 8. Yeah.
Reading.
Reading right there. I'll put reading up there at 8 as well. 8 with a bullet.
Mm. Honor.
10.
Responsibility.
Man, that's tough. I think that's 9, 10. I think it's up there at the top again.
Happiness.
Happiness is, I'm gonna say 8. Let me tell you why. I'll tell you why. Duty. The reason why families don't last. Make me happy. Make me happy. Listen, you got to make yourself happy.
Mm.
A family, you create a family. You have some things going on. You're part of a society. You're part of a group. You got a duty to do the right thing. It's not always about your happiness. People are too caught up in their happiness from minute to minute. I'm not happy. How does that make me feel? Listen, get to work. Put your nose down. Do your doggone job. Quit
Mm.
talking about being happy. Sometimes you ain't gonna be happy. Sometimes when I put my wife in the care center, I wept like a baby. I was done for days. I was wiped out. But guess what? Duty. I had a duty to make sure she was taken care of. And you know what? That led me to happiness. Inside, I can look myself in the mirror and I know I'm doing the best I can do for myself and for her. Am I happy with not having her in the home with me, next to me on the phone right now? No, it sucks.
Mm.
But honor, duty, integrity, happiness comes as a byproduct of doing the right things
Mm.
and being the right person.
Absolutely.
And if sometimes you're not happy, oh well, that's how it goes sometimes.
Mm. Abundance.
Abundance. Um, I think having an abundance is 5. I think having an abundance mindset it would be an 8.
Mm.
Abundance though is 5 because a person's scriptures say a person's life does not come from the things he possesses.
Mm. Brainstorming.
I think it's priceless. It's so much fun. You love it. I love it. People like us love it. We can't get enough of it. It's
Mm.
almost an obsession. So I would say, because it's my creativity, I put that at 9, 10. I need that. It feeds me to
Mm.
bring, you know,
Faith.
10.
All right, that was good. That was good, Eric. Can you explain to the audience exactly where they can find you?
Oh, thank you for some of that. I'm currently setting up the media company that when I was talking about the media.
Mm-hmm.
For now, I can be reached at my best number is 520 800 4328. That's where I can be called. I'm on Facebook, of course, Eric Briggs, EricBriggs. I'm on LinkedIn. You can find me there. But my email, you can contact me. Best email to contact me at this point would be Eric, ERIC, at symbol, max, MAX, asset, ASSET, value, VALUE.com. Eric at maxassetvalue.com. So those would be the contact points. Yeah, absolutely. And I'm ready to talk. And we can call and schedule. We can always call and schedule something. I don't have my Calendly updated at this point, but I'll have that put in place pretty quickly.
All right. Do you have any last pearls of wisdom for the audience?
Get curious about barter. Look around your house. Look at the crap that you've got and see how you can get rid of it at the most possible value. Just have some fun with that. Next, get a sheet of paper out, a pad of paper, and start listing out your assets, in your network, the things that people that you know have access to, the things you have access to, the tangible assets you have, the hard stuff that you can reach out and touch, the intangible, the knowledge you have, list that stuff out. That's asset too. Your software that you have control over, anything. Just list your assets so you can see what you actually possess, how empowered you actually are, and how much wealth you actually can harvest. That might not always be in fazools and cash, you know.
Wow.
I think start with that,
Mm.
and that will change your life. It can change your life because you'll start perceiving value in a different way. You won't devalue yourself as much as you might have done before. Maybe you'll start seeing others as having more value. But it also creates conversations. You can start asking your friends, what are you looking to do? Where do you want to go? What do you want to see? What do you want to buy? And then just start writing things down and start connecting the dots with different people and places, and you'll start bartering. Yeah.
To everyone that's listening and watching right now, get involved with the phenomenal Eric Briggs and get educated about bartering. Wealthy people use the bartering system all the time. They don't use dividends all the time. They use the bartering system as leverage so they can get the things that they want. And when you get the things that you want, you're going to help others to get what they want.
That's right.
Eric, I'd like to thank you once again for taking time out of your busy schedule to educate me and the audience worldwide about the power of using the bartering system. I gladly appreciate it. You are a gift from God.
Oh, thank you so much. I was hoping I wouldn't be returned. Some just get returned.
Oh, absolutely.
But thank you so much, Arthur. You're incredible. You're very expansive thinker. You're bringing people together in a time when people really are more divided and things are more divisive than ever. People like you are necessary, and you're a gift from God. And I appreciate what you've done and the platform you've built, and the fact that you've honored me by allowing me to be on it with you. Really appreciate you.
Well, I appreciate you, Eric. And you got to come back on my platform so we can get more in depth about the bartering wealth building principles.
Absolutely. Anytime. You know I'm a phone call away from you. I've always got time for you.
To everyone that's listening and watching right now, I highly recommend get involved with the phenomenal Eric Briggs and learn about the bartering system. I interview millionaires and hectomillionaires all over the world, and Eric is by far one of the best that can educate each and every one of you on how you can leverage your hidden marketing assets in your business by using the bartering system. You heard the passion that came through his voice on my show today. Look up Eric Briggs, ERIC Briggs, BRIGGS. He's on LinkedIn, he's on Instagram, and send him a personal message, and he would definitely get back to you if you want to learn more in depth about how to use the bartering system the correct way, like how the wealthy people are using it right now.
That's right.
So, to everyone that's listening and watching right now, remember that the strongest asset that each and every one of you have is your brain, and what you think about and what you take action on, that will become your reality, and your mentality creates your reality. May God bless each and every one of you, and bye for now. Thank you, Eric. I really appreciate you conveying value to my platform.
Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Much obliged.
Have a pleasant day, everyone.